Hey guys, how you doing today? It's Lag here. I'm going to be talking to you why I think Ellie is my favorite character in The Last of Us Part 2. Oh boy, hear me out first. So, starting off, there's people who actually sent the woman who voiced oh crap, I messed up. Hey guys, Lag here. I played The Last of Us quite a while ago. I let it sit with me. Just going to play some Fallout 76 and give you my thoughts. Most importantly, why I think Abby is a better character than Ellie. That might be a little divisive, especially considering we had people send death threats to the voice actor of Abby. But it's not the character. You want to blame two things that could completely solve 95% of the problems in Fallout 76. I'm sorry, I'm playing Fallout 76. In The Last of Us Part 2 would be the writers, obviously, and more importantly, Ellie's character. So before we get into Ellie, let's talk about what happened with the writing. Abby is a completely compelling character from start to finish. I really like her. The first problem they did was, spoiler alert, killing Joel 2 hours into the game without any previous context on who she is or what she's about. So, bam, the first thing you see is Hulk arms and the animosity towards the character you fell in love with in the first game. Let her kill Joel. Yeah, that's going to go over real well trying to get people to like her. The writing should have changed. She should not have been so quick to do that until you understand the character. The second issue with Abby is her arms, and it's a huge issue. There's a couple of things. I mean, even for a male who is genetically able to build that muscle easier, not that it's impossible, easier, the time and dedication involved is just not feasible in the apocalypse. And then an important part of the game that a lot of people don't talk about that bothers me is when Manny gets the burritos, and he gets one for him and one for Abby and steals an extra one. And Abby, the goody two-shoes, makes sure he returns it. Totally fine. But the type of food, the amount of food, the times you need to consume the food in the game to get gains like that, let alone the sleep schedule in the gym, it's just the antithesis of what she would need to do to get arms like that. So I feel like that was an issue, a crossroads for the way she looked to even be possible. And then the other thing about her, the arms are comically huge. Comically huge. There's so many points in the game where there's the story going on, and I'm trying to figure out what to do or to pay attention to the talking of the characters. I'm stuck looking at her arms. The way the lighting hits her, biceps and triceps and delts and glutes, and I mean, I'm supposed to be focusing on what's going on, but I'm just stuck staring at her arms like, those are huge. I will tell you that a part in The Last of Us 2 made me feel something that I haven't, in a long time in games, the shock and horror. When you find Abby at the beach, that physical transformation, even during the quote-unquote boss fight between Ellie and Abby, I was stuck just in disarray, looking at the physical transformation like this entire time. You're pumping yourself up, ready to get into a big fight, and Abby's just completely malnourished and next to nothing. It was shocking, and I like that. That's a good thing. Shocking's good. So between that and when you go to the flashbacks of when Abby has her father and everything, and she has what is generally considered normal-sized arms for a woman, I get that Abby's body does the opposite of, let's say, what cartoon characters do. When cartoon characters wear the same clothing, even as a joke, you open up their closet and it's like 20 of the same exact outfits and everything. Abby's body was its own character, telling stories. And I really liked what they were trying to do, but they just failed miserably at the buff part. It was too much in a game that's supposed to be very dry and dark and gritty. It was just unrealistic for a zombie fungus apocalypse, believe it or not, which is pretty crazy. So if they would have fixed those two things with Abby, I feel that a lot of people would just be entirely they'd have a different perception. Now Ellie was just right next to Joel as an amazing character in The Last of Us, the first one. Witty, a little naive, a little rambunctious. Totally kept the comic relief as well as the heartfelt parts of The Last of Us flowing, which is why it's such an amazing game. Enter The Last of Us Part 2, The Destruction of Ellie. I blame the writers. I think the writers changed her personality, and I don't know why they did that to such a degree to move the plot further ahead when it is just, you compare it to the first time you deal with Ellie in the first game, and it's not who she is. It's not how she works. Putting the safety of her friends to get justice for someone who was killed is just not like her. It's not what she would do. Leaving her girlfriend and child behind to literally go across the country for justice that was so far, far behind is not something I think she would do. That's not even getting into the relationship she had with a woman who was with a man the week before. That relationship was trying to push the story forward, but there was no chemistry there. It didn't make sense. You didn't feel for it. You didn't feel for any of it. Just everything around Ellie happened too fast with no chemistry and no understanding. And I understand that they're trying to take her to this dark part of her mind for this game. This game's about revenge and destruction, but it was done very poorly. I think Ellie's character was horrible. I felt very little for her, and it's sad because I absolutely adored Ellie in the first game. It's if you just hear me out, I'm telling you. Move Joel's death to 4 hours instead of 2 hours. Get the beginning of Abby's story at the 2-hour mark instead. Shrink her arms down just a little bit, just so that, nice shadow details, just a little softer. She's not Arnold Schwarzenegger. And then make Ellie make the choices that would benefit the people in her life, but then be put into a situation that makes her have to take the other route would be much more compelling and would have boosted the game. Now I'm seeing all these zeros and 10s absolutely infiltrate Metacritic, and everybody's so divisive. It is clearly not a 0. It's clearly not a 10. I'd probably put the game somewhere between a 7.5 and an 8, and it completely is carried by the graphics, which are definitely in the top 3 of the PS4 era. By the way, Ghost of Tsushima definitely takes number 1 in my opinion. Some people might argue Death Stranding. I think Last of Us sits right underneath them. The gameplay is solid. While it's nothing new, it's compelling. It's a stealth game at the end of the day, and I don't like stealth games, and for a game to make me play like that and not be aware that, I'm going through the slog of playing a stealth game, it's fun. I'd enjoy it. The voice actors were fantastic. You can't argue that. The music was fantastic. Everything was fantastic, except for the plot, which is the story based on the writers, and it's not a complete failure. Like, we could go into, yes, Joel in the first game spent over 20 years doing his smuggling thing and developed this stone wall around him where he'd kill people and run over them and stuff, shoot first, ask questions later, didn't have time to trust the person, and then in, you know, The Last of Us Part 2, oh, I've been chilling in a town for 10 years, so, yeah, hi, my name's Joel, you know, Joel, are you sure you heard me correctly? I'll repeat it again, my name's Joel, okay, it's just completely out of character, it is, there's the battle of they should have taken longer for things to play out versus the length of the game. At 25 hours, it was a little long. I probably would have cut it down to 20 hours, omit a majority of Abby's story, although that's what made her so compelling. I would just expedite some of it. To get these things understood, the writers, man. The writers were definitely the issue of this game. And whoever made Abby's Arm so big, I'm going to blame the writers too, because that's easy. But I mean, that's my take. I'd like to know what you think. Personally, Abby is the best character in The Last of Us Part 2. We can't use Joel because, well, he's not around. Tommy just completely crapped the bed as far as the story goes. Jesse gets his head blown off. Dina is annoying. There's parts where I really like her. There's parts where I just think she is the worst character in the game. It bounces back between her and Ellie, but Ellie was a major disappointment. And that's really what I'm getting at, is I blame Ellie's character over Abby's. Let me know what you think. It's great hearing from you guys, and I will catch you later. Bye.